The Tesla Cyber Rodeo is an event that they and Elon Musk have hyped up for a while now, but there's been a lot of mystery around it. We know that this is going to celebrate the opening of this new factory, but is it going to include deliveries of new cars? Is it just going to be a big party? What exactly is going to happen there? They did the Gigafactory Berlin festival, and that was a party and showed the factory and showed a bunch of Model Ys made there, but they didn't actually deliver cars until a little later when they had the actual delivery event. We knew that this event was happening on April 7th, but not a lot was known until the week of when invites started actually going out and people were able to add +1s, and then confirmations came, and then the actual tickets came 24 hours or less before. On the day of, Tesla posted to their Instagram showing a little bit of a lights demonstration around a Model Y happening at Giga Texas, definitely to hype up this event, and then we saw drone photos that they actually did arrange a ton of Model Ys built at that factory in the shape of a Texas flag. Definitely makes sense since this will be their largest factory in America. Elon Musk himself was there when they were setting up and posted some setup photos showing just how crazy this party is and how they're going above and beyond. And then he posted some additional info as well as this photo of a tunnel. Again, the info was unclear and Tesla said remarks would happen at sunset, but Elon took to Twitter the night before to say Gigafactory Texas grand opening party tomorrow. Doors open at 4, festivities at 8. I will give a talk around 9. The display from the outside looks very impressive and there's a Model Y that's hanging there along with a couple other ones, and then they have a projection that says Cyber Rodeo on the outside of the factory. We'll likely be seeing the Cybertruck as well as tons of Model Ys and all the equipment that will be making cars there, which is going to be awesome to see. And Tesla themselves are live streaming this event, which does hint that something exciting might happen, but we'll wait and see. I'm about 8 minutes away from where the Cyber Rodeo is happening, so I'm gonna head over there right now and check it out. Super excited to see what unfolds. All right, so first off, Elon wasn't kidding talking about this being one of the largest parties in the world. It feels like a convention center. Giga Texas is gigantic and not what I was expecting as far as size. It's so much bigger in every way, and everything about what is happening here with the robots and the stuff that is making the cars is absolutely insane. So when you first get in, you have a huge parking area, and then they give you water bottles, and then they give you a swag bag with a full map of the event itself. And it just outlines a few different stages and what is going to be happening there. There's a lot of stuff outside, carnival games and food trucks, and a stage as well. But then the fun stuff is inside. So on the first floor, there's a huge walkthrough tour of the full Model Y production process. So you can see all of the machines that are making the Model Y in every way, the big stamping presses, which is a huge innovation that they're really focused on here, and then the paint shop, all the various things that are making the drive units, everything for the car. You can see that process and what machines actually make those. Tesla is definitely emphasizing what the new technology is like versus what the old technology was like, with displays that are talking about exactly that. And they have all these placards that are showing what these innovations bring. It's just constant machinery throughout the whole place, and there's tons of disassembled Model Ys, Model Ys in the very early stages of production, finished Model Ys, everything possible. I have yet to see one in any special colors like crimson red or anything. It has all been the standard Tesla colors thus far. They did have 1 or 2 of them with a crazy paint job, but it was a very specific pattern and not something that Tesla is going to be shipping. It's just something they made special for the Cyber Rodeo. It even says Cyber Rodeo on the hood itself. They have multiple Tesla semis on display, so I saw one outside of the factory on the lower level, out where all the food is. And it's really awesome to see that. That's the first time I've seen the Tesla Semi in person. It's gigantic, and hopefully that will actually come out and be in production and be on the road soon enough. There's all sorts of Cyber Rodeo signs, tons of specifically Cyber Rodeo themed props and such. And the merch store was even selling actual Tesla branding things that I think there was only a limited amount of. So all of that is super exciting, and I'm gonna go back and look at it super in detail because we're about 2 hours out from when Elon's gonna talk. But we waited in line to go upstairs, and once we got upstairs, they have a whole display of all of their vehicles. But the real exciting thing was happening right as I was walking in, which is they were driving the new Cybertruck prototype out, and tons of people were just absolutely swarming it, me included, taking photos and videos of that crazy truck. It's absolutely insane to see it in person. This is the first time I've seen it in person, and to see it driving is a whole nother level. There seem to be some extra lights that we haven't seen yet, and as well, I didn't get a good photo of it, but you could also see through to the cabin. There wasn't glass right there, which means that that likely can drop and potentially fold forward to allow a pass-through. We'll see if they announce that later. But that Cybertruck drove in and then it drove behind some cones, but there was another one on display, which is the updated prototype. It's the updated Cybertruck prototype. It does look like a pretty rough prototype. There's definitely some panel gapping issues that people are for sure gonna complain about with that prototype, but it's absolutely insane to see it in person. It's massive, and it has a few of the updates we've talked about on this channel. So it has those new cameras, it has the updated charge port that's on the wheel well instead of on the side door. It has the lack of door handles, and it has that gigantic windshield wiper, which in person is even more gigantic than it looks in photos. People were swarming that, and they still are, and that is definitely a piece that they have on display on purpose next to a Tesla Semi and the new Roadster prototype, which is also exciting to see. And to top off the section of products that Tesla has unveiled but has not actually put into production is the Tesla Bot. They had a Tesla Bot out on display, and that was really fun to see because we know that this is just a doll that they made. It's just a prototype of a design of a doll, and it doesn't function in any way on the inside, but still seeing it on display, as we saw at the event, was very cool to see. What's very clear on this whole event is just how Tesla is using this as advertising. They don't advertise, but they hold this event where it's kind of exclusive because they don't advertise, and they're such a niche company and Elon Musk is the head, where they're letting people like me take photos and videos so that we can post it and talk about the company, which is just a genius move. Everyone wants to get a photo with the Cybertruck. There's a line, people are swarming it, and that is tons of free publicity for Tesla. And at the same time, those same people are going through the factory and seeing how their currently made cars are being made. Now, I didn't see this myself, but Tesla Raj noticed that the standard range all-wheel drive Model Y was here. He got to look inside of one and actually got to see that it says standard range all-wheel drive, which is a car that doesn't exist yet, and we have speculated is the car that will include 4680 battery cells at first from Giga Texas. It's a lower range model that the EPA has already certified with, I think, 279 miles of range. That seems to be a confirmation of it because we're actually here at Giga Texas and we see that updated standard range all-wheel drive Model Y, but we'll see if they announce that tonight or another time. So the event had already been going on for hours, but then Elon Musk finally took the stage. He was set to go on at 9 p.m., but in classic Elon Musk fashion, that happened after quite a while, almost 30 minutes late. In the meantime, though, they showed a bunch of awesome drone footage around the factory, showcasing how cool the Cyber Rodeo is all the way around, and then showcasing what it looks like from the outside, because at that point, we were inside waiting for Elon to talk inside, at least most of us. I'll do a summary of everything Elon talked about in just a second, but the main big takeaways and things that apply to future products were these. First, they did first Model Y deliveries that were made in Giga Texas. It's unclear at this point if these are long-range or standard-range Model Ys, but reportedly they do include 4680 cells. That's the model that they are making at Giga Texas. They've never said otherwise, and I talked to an employee working on the 4680 line who said they are delivering 4680 Model Ys today. Scaling was the biggest part of this event and is the biggest focus for Tesla going forward. They are planning to scale to a massive degree. First off, this factory is huge, and Elon Musk talked about how it is larger than the Burj Khalifa, if you were to put Giga Texas on its side. And you could definitely feel that as you were walking through this building. It's multiple stories, and it's just incredibly long. He talked about how they have increased their deliveries, and if you look back 12 months, they've delivered 1 million cars, which is incredibly impressive, but is still only about 1% of global deliveries. In the future, he sees them getting somewhere like 20% of all global deliveries, which is an incredibly lofty and impressive goal. Now, regarding that Model Y and the design, overall, it's going to be exactly the same, aside from, of course, the structural battery pack and the castings that we're seeing here, but there's a couple differences I saw at the factory. For one, it does have a cargo cover. I saw multiple Model Ys with the trunk open, and they all included cargo covers. I just couldn't get up close to one. And then the center console armrest is magnetic instead of using a normal latch, like has been on the Model 3 and Model Y for years now. Those are two very small changes, but other than that, we're not seeing a ton of changes come to these cars because they've been selling well as is, and scaling is the priority. One of the biggest announcements from Elon actually came in kind of passing, where he talked about that they are working on a dedicated Robotaxi. So this would be a dedicated vehicle that he said includes a very futuristic design, and this would be a dedicated vehicle that does not include a steering wheel and is only for the purpose of being a Robotaxi. We've heard them talk about repurposing the Model 3 and using other cars as Robotaxis before, but we haven't heard him specifically talk about them designing a dedicated Robotaxi like he did demonstrated at this event. Then regarding the Cybertruck, they're looking at 2023 for actual production. He has talked about this multiple times, but they specifically talked about this and even had slides for it actually beginning next year. And then they even brought Franz onto the stage to talk about the Cybertruck. Franz said it's going to be worth the wait. This is the only truck, and it's the only truck you're going to want because it's just going to be that awesome, and they're starting production next year. Of course, it's been so heavily delayed at this point that some people are still doubtful about next year, but we'll hope for the best. One more future product that Elon talked about, of course, was the Tesla bot, and how this is going to be a game-changing product when it comes to B, and they're hoping for production of the version 1 of the Tesla bot in 2023. Now, of course, this could merely mean internal production to actually make prototypes of the Tesla bot, but that is what they are shooting for and what he gave the timeline of, along with reiterating that the Roadster and Semi will also come in 2023. So overall, Tesla this year is completely focused on scaling and getting these new factories up and running, making tons of Model Ys. But next year, they should be adding the Cybertruck, the Roadster, the Tesla Semi, and potentially the Tesla bot, all of that according to Elon Musk. And then he also said the FSD beta would be available to all customers who bought FSD by the end of this year. Again, all of these timelines are up in the air, but those are the most recent timelines that Elon is giving us. They talked about where they started, talking about the original Roadster and what that was like, and then there was some footage of what the Model S program was like originally. From there, they talked about where they are today, including the Model 3, Model X, Model Y, and of course the Model S that they still ship. They talked about superchargers, the solar roof, how they have storage options for both residential and commercial customers. And then the original Roadster was pulled away, and Elon Musk talked about how they now have 6 factories on 3 continents and how that really brings a lot of benefits. Attending the Cyber Rodeo was incredibly fun, and I'm super excited that I got to go. Seeing the factory in person is definitely the most impressive part of the event, and definitely the purpose of it. But at the same time, we can't underestimate the fact that Tesla is a car company, and no other car company could attract this many people to an event at their factory. Overall, as far as new products, Tesla showed off the Cybertruck and showed off a prototype of a few other things, but there's not a ton of new announcements. Most of this we've known for a long time. It's the fact that they are actually doing these things and actually scaling these factories that is the most exciting part. I definitely wanted to see a little more from this event. I wanted some new announcement, or for even Tesla to confirm what is going on with these 4680 Model Ys and how they're reconciling the differences in efficiency that must exist between this and the 2170 Model Y they still ship out of Fremont. But apparently they delivered first Model Ys today out of Giga Texas, made there with 4680 cells, so we'll just have to wait and learn from those customers. I have a lot more to talk about from this event because there was so much to digest, so make sure to subscribe to this channel to stay up to date on the latest of everything I bring out about Tesla. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.